In any healthy society, there are four basic systems. And if these systems are operating smoothly, this society can continue on indefinitely, generation after generation after generation. The first system is the educational system. Kids go into this system, and when they go through this system, they are taught all of the things they will need to know, all of the things they will need to do to become productive members of society. Things like basic mathematics, basic scientific ideas, how to express themselves articulately, both in spoken form and in written form, how to debate, how to see both sides of an issue, basic economic ideas, the history of their culture and their society, the great works of literature in their culture and society, what the metaphorical meanings are of these great works of literature in their society or their culture. The next system is the family system. This is where they learn things that they can't really learn in school. And in school, they learn things deliberately and consciously. But in a family system, we learn things more from an unconscious modeling. We unconsciously soak up necessary behaviors from our parents. How to speak assertively, how to talk about difficult things within a relationship, how to set boundaries, how to articulate your boundaries, how to understand other people's boundaries, how to talk to girls, how to talk to boys, how to be responsible, how to think about and handle and manage and take small risks to become more and more successful. The next system is a religious system, or a collection of religious opportunities or religious institutions that you can choose from. So you can go to these religious meetings on the weekends at the mosque or the temple or the church, and at this place you see other members from your community. You see people from school. You see the people that work at the supermarket, at the movie theater. You see your teachers. You see the person that delivers your mail, and you get this kind of deeper experience that we're all part of a community, and we're all here to kind of reflect or meditate on this unknowable mystery of life, that there's something beyond all of this, and that gives you a very, very deep sense of connection to all the people in the community. And the final system is an economic system, a healthy economic system. A system that has fair laws, laws that inhibit corruption, laws that protect private property, laws that protect contracts, contract law, and a system, a monetary system where you have a stable currency. There's actually been times in history where they had a stable currency long enough so prices naturally fell over time. The reason prices always go up is because they're always expanding the money supply. If you have the same number of products every year, but the amount of money increases, the price per product is necessarily or naturally going to increase. But there have been times in history, over like a 100-year period, where they had a very stable monetary supply. And if you have relatively the same amount of people that's slowly increasing every year because of reproduction and stuff, and you have the same amount of money every year, but also every year you produce more goods, you invent more stuff, you make more variations of things with the stable number of people, a stable amount of money, but increasing amounts of stuff that you can buy, the stuff is going to cost less over time. So in this system, you could take $10, stick it under your mattress, forget about it, pull it out 10 years later, and this $10 would buy a lot more than it did 10 years ago. So if you have this kind of an economic system, contract law, private property law, laws that inhibit corruption, and a stable monetary system, this would be ideal. So with these four systems operating relatively healthily, you could have kids are born, they go through the system, they go through school, they learn what they need to learn, they get out into the workforce, they start families of their own, and this continues. And this can continue over and over and over again, generation after generation after generation, indefinitely. But historically, because these four systems are kind of interdependent, once one of the systems starts to break down, that kind of causes the other systems to break down, and that's when the entire society breaks down. So where are we today? Our educational system is pretty broken. Our religious institutions, they're pretty broken. The family unit, the family system, well, that's pretty broken. And our economic system is really broken. So ultimately, we are pretty much finished.